This is Season 2, Episode 11 of the TO SportsTalk podcast. I'm your host, James Price, along with Evan Brown here. And for the first time in quite a while, at least since it's the summertime, we're starting Blue Jays today.
Whose idea was it?
That was yours. I'll give you that because the big thing we want to talk about today is the Chicago White Sox have signed their young one. Now, the reason this is so shocking to everybody is because he has never played a big league game. And they signed their top prospect, second overall prospect in MLB's top 100, Eloy Jimenez, finalizing a 6-year, $43 million contract.
So we were talking about this on the phone, and you were saying how we should do the same deal to Vladdy.
Yeah.
And I told you that it would be nice to get him at a cheaper bargain, but we don't know if he's going to be a star in the big leagues yet. It's probable he will, but I don't want to take that risk. Listen, if he's worth an absurd amount of money, you pay a guy like that. It's always nice to save, but if Vladdy tears it up this year, great, you sign him next year to whatever he wants.
So Eloy Jimenez had a poor showing in the spring as well and was sent down to AAA.
Hey, I mean,
like Vladdy was.
I wouldn't be opposed to signing Vladdy right now, but I don't think, personally, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't be angry if Shapiro and Atkins did it, but I wouldn't be thrilled because, like you said, he's coming off of a Achilles injury.
It's a minor injury.
Some minor injury, right? His hitting's unbelievable. We knew Vladdy's hitting was unreal, but it's the all-around game. It's the defense. It's the running. It's everything, right? So I think with that, younger players will obviously get time to develop that once they get older. Guys, he's only 19.
Yeah.
He's only 19.
Actually, I think he just turned 20.
Okay, so 20 years of age. I think, though, you wait and see what he can do in the bigs, and then you base it off that. Because we've been hearing on paper, Vladdy's great. Vladdy's going to be the best Blue Jay in history. Okay, I don't know if anyone says that, but the hype around him is so immense. I want him to show it on the field in the bigs. And I think you can both agree. I think you can agree with me on that. Okay, hype's one thing, but you got to prove it. Talk's cheap.
Yeah, I know.
Talk's cheap.
But when he's putting up numbers that are better than Bryce Harper's in the minor leagues, now ideally it's the minor leagues. I know it's not the big leagues yet, but we're seeing numbers that the minor leagues have never seen.
I know.
He's there in Double-A for almost an entire season, hitting over 400. That is absurd. Anybody who hits over 300 is an unbelievable player, and he's hitting a whole 100 points better. Now, he didn't have a great spring, and he obviously strained oblique was his injury, and that's why he's going to miss a little bit of time here to start, and he got sent back to the minor league camp. But why not do this deal? I mean, it's not going to kill you. You look at that deal that they made, right? What is it, 43 or 47 $1 million from the White Sox for Eloy Jimenez.
I saw 77.
No, it wasn't. Well, that's if they take options and stuff like that. It could go up to something like that.
So 44 mil per year over 6 years?
Not per year.
In total.
In total. So it's, where is it here? 6 years at 43. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up my calculator and go 43 divided by 6. It is $7 million a season. Over 6 years. That is amazing.
There's a small possibility that he can turn out to be nothing. It's a very, very small percent chance, but you want to run that risk of having someone on your team who's, like he said, or maybe you sign him to a deal, you sign him for, okay, let's just say $8 million a season,
right,
and he's always injured.
Right. Well, because $7 million is a really, really low-risk contract. And I'm not saying Vladdy's going to make that because he'll probably want a little bit more. Well, I don't know. Jimenez's numbers aren't terrible. He's hit a career 337 in the minors, which is really good.
And plus, we're talking about if Vladdy will even accept the offer.
Right.
If he's smart, he would want to prove his worth over a season. Then he'll get paid big if he wants to do that. But maybe he's going to go the route, well, you know what? I want to stay a Blue Jay for my entire career. I just want to get this thing out of the way. I just want to get this contract signed, and he does it.
Yeah.
That won't be good money-wise for him because I think he can make a lot more.
Yeah.
But if he wants to get it done, over with, sign him now. I wouldn't be opposed, but I would just like to see him in the bigs for 1 year. Only for 1 year, right? Staying completely healthy, which obviously he knock on wood, has not done that yet. And I just want him to prove his worth in the bigs, and I think we can both agree that hype's one thing, but prove it to me, right?
Agreed. I just see that. I mean, we all know. I mean, look, every Jays fan wants this guy on the team now because he can hit, because he can do that. Now, you did talk about running and the defense. Look, excuse me. Oh my gosh, we don't know how good he is at defense.
Yeah.
We know his running. He's a big fella, so he's not going to be running really, really well. He doesn't look bad when he's running. He's not like a Justin Smoke or a Ken Reese Morales running up the baseline. But and that could be because he's 20 years old as well. But a guy that can hit that well, I understand why Jays fans want to see him. And if Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if Vladdy Jr. comes back from this strained oblique and play, I mean, depending on when he comes back, if he can come back, and play a few weeks of baseball before May, or around May, and play well, why not give him the call-up and give him a contract?
So you're saying that you wouldn't want to sign him tomorrow or a week later?
I wouldn't be opposed to it because I don't expect a strained
signing...
oblique to be a big thing and all that. I want to see him going through a good spell when we sign him.
Agreed.
Now, Eloy Jimenez obviously didn't have a great spring, so he's gone back to minor league camp as well.
But he's not injured, and he's going back and he's actually playing. If you're signing a dude that's going to be injured for 3 weeks, I mean, really, that's more of a gamble than it already is. So I think that I'm with you. I would like it if he were to sign a deal this year for him to be completely healthy, for him maybe to even be in the bigs when he is signed to that deal. But definitely, if he's either in the bigs or the minor leagues, I just want him to be healthy when the deal is signed. Because if the deal's going to be signed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not, signing him the contract for a few weeks. You're signing it for a big deal. Now, let's say the Jays want to give him a huge offer. Maybe an 8 to 10 year deal, which is crazy. Yeah. But you look at where all the money is right now in the major leagues, right? And Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, Mike Trout even. We'll get into that in a little bit here. Guys like that who just got signed to 120, 130 plus $1 million contracts are crazy. But the common denominator with all those guys, they're all in their mid-20s. Yeah. Right? A guy like Eloy Jimenez, 22 years of age. He got signed to a 6-year deal with some club options at the end. Or is it club or his player option? I don't know. Anyways, whether there is or not, let's say go off of the 6-year deal, he'll be 28.
So then he'll be one
because the prime of the big league. Exactly. But the prime time for, I guess, big leaguers is in their mid-20s.
So if you're comparing, I don't know why you're comparing Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, because when Vladdy's contract is up, he's going to be exact same age as Bryce Harper.
No, he's not.
Well, he's going to be a bit older. Let's just say he signs a 7-year deal. He'll be 27.
Right.
Bryce Harper's what, 26?
Yeah, we don't know how many years they'd be talking. We don't even know if they're discussing a contract
I'm just saying, though, if it's similar to what the White Sox gave
their
prospects.
What they would probably do, they'd probably give him 7 years and then a couple team options at the end of it as well.
So it's the team options that really count. So team options give him to when he's 30. But then again, this is all per se if he wants to get those team options or he just wants to sign a massive deal after his 8-year deal or whatever. I don't know. But all I know is that we have a good prospect. I don't want to risk anything. That's what I'm saying. Atkins already said that he's not starting in the majors, which is fine. He's going to be AAA.
Yeah. It sounds like,
he's hurt right now, obviously, so I want him to get completely healthy and see if he can still perform in AAA, which I'm pretty sure he can. And then afterwards, we'll maybe talk about a contract. But I think he should wait a year and then get a bigger pay, but we know what we're getting.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, the question in the last podcast, and I mentioned it in the Jays video last week as well, with Bo Bichette's ridiculous play in the spring, hitting over 400 and crushing the ball and looking amazing defensively. There was a highlight shown about his own double play that he made. Oh, it was incredible. The question was going to be, will this guy make it out of camp? My goodness, this guy's playing unbelievable baseball. You kind of just can't let him go down there. Now, the smart move would be to let him go down there into AAA and have him develop more and continue to grow because there's no rush, and you don't want to start the clock on him either as Bo Bichette. So, what do the Jays do? they reassigned Bo Bichette and Kevin Biggio to minor league camp.
I think that's the safer option.
Yes.
I would love to see Bo Bichette at least maybe play a couple games with the Jays to start the season. Listen, if this guy is on a hot streak, if this guy is on a tear in spring training, why would you want to diminish his adrenaline, send him down? It wouldn't hurt his development keeping him on the Jays for a couple games.
Right, but then again, you start the clock, and do you really want to start the clock at a couple games?
Yeah, I mean, it was a smarter thing to do to send him down to the minors. I think we can both agree on that. But I wouldn't.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, but I wouldn't be opposed. But like you said, for casual fans, they don't understand the whole process of it. And it's true, right? I'm a casual fan. You're more of a diehard fan. So you understand the whole scenario with, extra years of whatever. Yeah. And I think for right now, obviously, you know best. We saw in spring training, Bo Bichette is our second best prospect. I mean, he looked like our first best prospect out there.
Yeah.
And we still have him in the organization. It's not like we traded him, and he can come up whenever.
Yep.
But just starting him, so he's going to be in AAA.
It's AAA. Anybody I know, one of our good fans, Fox87, he's obviously from Buffalo. So, my man, you're going to be seeing Vladdy, Bo, and Kevin Biggio in Buffalo, at least to start the year. It's going to be a fun month of April for you guys.
It's the Buffalo what?
Bisons.
Bisons.
I mean, it's going to be an amazing time. It's going to be a really, really interesting year for the Jays because Jays fans, including myself, are going to keep an eye on the Jays' top 30 prospects, see how those guys are doing, as well as seeing how the guys on the team right now are doing. Guys like Ryan Baracki, Teoscar Hernandez. And I want to get into Teoscar Hernandez for the fact that, last year he was ripped apart by Jays fans constantly. His ability to strike out was ridiculous. Now, the thing with Aaron Judge is that, yes, he strikes out a ton, but, man, he can crush the baseball.
Well, he's almost like Chris Davis on Baltimore.
He's a lot better than
Chris
Davis.
Better, but I'm just saying he's one of those players that strike out a lot, but when they hit, they can hit.
Yeah, and Aaron Judge also takes his walks, and he also hits for a fairly high average, too. So that's why strikeouts don't really mean anything. Mm-hmm. However, Teoscar Hernandez, his strikeout numbers were really high last year, and he only hit 230. He didn't hit great. He didn't hit a lot of home runs late in the year. He didn't get a lot of hits, period, lately in the season.
So basically this year for Hernandez, you're looking for him to,
cut down to the strikeouts.
Even it out a little bit. Not to hit as much. Like, listen, would you want him to take a step back home runs, but you hit more than him hitting a lot more home runs, but striking out a lot?
Look, he hit, almost 30 home runs last year. I'd totally be happy with him hitting 270, give me 20 home runs, and strike out 50, 60 times less. Absolutely.
I'm a complete player.
The good news, the reason I was trying to say, the reason I was getting to all this is that he's had a damn good spring training. He's hit over 400 as well. He's got some pop. He had a home run, I think it was in yesterday's game or a couple days ago. Yeah. And he's looking better. Again, it's spring training, so you don't really want to dwell on it too much. But you got to take positives out of it, and that is one. So, yeah. We all know what he was last year for this team. You got to remember, though, that was his first full – it wasn't even his first full season because he didn't play the first month and a bit with the Blue Jays. He was down in Buffalo for that time. So this year is probably going to be his first full big league season. Now, ideally, last year was mostly a full season for Teoscar Hernandez. But with his first full season upon us now, you want to see progression. Now, if we see the same Hernandez this year where he's striking out a lot and he's giving you 25 home runs, but he's hitting for a low average.
How old is he?
He's only 26, 27 years old. He's not
so he's getting to that part where, okay, what are you kind of thing? Are you going to take a step back?
But again, like I said, he's even last year, he never played a full big league season.
Last year he didn't?
He was down in Buffalo for the first month and a bit. So he technically he wasn't there for a full year. Mostly he was. Right. But he wasn't there for a full year.
So you're looking, this is the make it or break it year. Are you going to step up and maybe even it out a little bit with the hits and the home runs? Or because he's playing a full year. Mm-hmm. He's not being sent down. Injuries are one thing. You can't help injuries on a team, right? Injuries can happen whenever. But you're looking out of Teoscar Hernandez, to have more of a complete season and for him to hit the ball more. Less home runs is fine for you.
Yep.
But just for those strikeouts were a killer last year.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, he had 150, 160 strikeouts, and you never want to average a strikeout a game. But that's what he was averaging, and you don't want to see that kind of stuff.
So, obviously, we're facing the Tigers this time next week. Let's get into the roster cuts here quickly, because there are a few that you wanted to mention. And the starting rotation's pretty much set. Everything's set. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to... Well, I was going to get to the bullpen. No, so the rotation... It's really weird, because the rotation that I saw on like Twitter and stuff that Charlie Montoyo told Joe Biagini, he told Ryan Borucki, Tim Mays, I'm trying to look at the names and get my memory, I think he was Matt Shoemaker as well, they all made the team. So the question was going to arise, was Ryan Borucki going to make the team at a camp? With the way he played last year, I think we all thought so. However, with the acquisition of Clay Buchholz and Clayton Richard and Matt Shoemaker, would they want to go with more of a veteran look and put him down in AAA?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. And they chose not to go that road either. Ryan Borucki is going to be in the Blue Jays rotation this year. So you're going to have Stroman, you're going to have Sanchez, you're going to have Borucki. Those three are staples.
Who's four?
I think Matt Shoemaker is going to be one. And I think the fifth spot, I don't really know. I think it could be Clayton Richard, even though I'd like to see him more out of the bullpen than anything else. It might even be Clay Buchholz. He hasn't pitched yet in the spring, but again, I think it'll come a little bit later for him because he hasn't had any spring training time. But not a guy that's all that bad. And Clay Buchholz, veteran guy, 34 years of age, 1-year contract. He might be a good pickup.
So they went with being younger than being more veteran, because last year we had a lot of veterans on the team, and the way Ryan Borucki performed last year, it was great. He struggled a little bit, but that's with any young player. And I think giving him the shot this year. Now, are you worried about the whole year situation with Borucki?
No, because he pitched last year.
It's
for a little.
Okay.
Put into perspective, and this is how bad Aaron Sanchez and Marcus Stroman were last year. Both guys pitched about 100 innings each. Yeah. We think Ryan Borucki, didn't play a whole lot last year. He pitched over 100 innings. He pitched about the same. He pitched about the same amount as Stroman and Sanchez. That's how injured they were.
Injured. They weren't good. They were. Well, exactly. And I think moving forward with this team, that's the issue with. We're going to be looking a lot more fun this year, but we're also going to be looking possibly worse. Last year, we were trying to make the playoffs.
With the last remaining veterans that we had.
Exactly.
Tulowitzki never got healthy. Donaldson couldn't stay healthy. Only played less than 30 games.
So now we kind of realize, listen, never say never. I'm a very optimistic person, but come on. We're not making the playoffs.
There's no expectations this year. The expectation for me this season is to continue to look at these younger players, like a guy like Ryan Borucki. You can even throw Sanchez and Stroman into the mix just because they're younger guys compared to
mid-age,
compared to the veterans we've been used to seeing over the years. Then the Jays might see a guy like Sean Reid-Foley if he has a great a great start to the season, and Clayton Richard or Shoemaker don't work out too well, or you might see Vladdy and Bo later in the season. You just want to see progression out of your younger players, and somebody I'm really intrigued to watch this year is a guy like Joe Biagini. Now, he was awful the last couple years. Mm-hmm. Back when he was first came over here in the Rule 5 draft, the way the Rule 5 works is it's around the time a normal draft would be, after the season, in the off season, and what it is you take a player from another team, a prospect from another team. Now I don't know how it all works, how they qualify for Rule 5
roughly
draft. I don't really know how that all works out. But the Jays got Joe Biagini in the Rule 5 draft. I think it was from the San Francisco Giants. Now, with that, he has to be on the roster for the Blue Jays for the entire season. Or he goes back to the other team. Now, any year after that, I think you're okay.
So he doesn't have to...
what he did in that first year was really good. He was in the Jays bullpen in the playoffs. He put great numbers up, and we're like, man, we got a gem here in Joe Biagini. Yeah. So then the Jays are like, okay, you got great stuff. Let's try and put you as a starter. They put him in spring training as a start. Or no, I think they start him in spring training as a reliever. He starts the year as a reliever and is good. Then they try and start him as a starter.
Why would they do that?
Because I guess he has the stuff, and he's more of the longer man in the bullpen. The guy
he's a younger guy, isn't he?
Not anymore. I think he's like 28 now, isn't he? 28 years old now. But
if you're performing well in the bullpen, why would you continue to start him? I mean,
I don't
agree with that one bit.
It didn't make any sense.
So he just has to be on the roster. He doesn't have to play, or like for example.
So that was in his first year,
right?
Now it's whatever, because I mean
we have him.
Yeah. So after that first season of it being in the bullpen and the whole switch from being a bullpen guy to a starter, he didn't have a great time as a starter. So what do? They send him down to AAA.
Yeah.
They let him start there.
Okay.
He didn't do all that well. Then the year after, which was last season, he starts the year in Buffalo as a starter. Doesn't really pitch that well. The Jays couldn't stay healthy with the rotation, so he gets the call-up as a starter. Okay. Doesn't pitch well. They end up throwing him in the bullpen in the latter half of the season, about damn time. Problem, though, he's already been stretched out as a starter for a year and a half, and so he's just so lost.
So they're jumping him back and forth to what position?
Right.
I think they should have kept him in the bullpen. I mean, the only reason why we put him in the starting rotation is because everybody was injured. Mm-hmm. But that's when you go and you sign a free agent.
And so,
like
Charlie Montoyo, the new coach, comes in, and I'm assuming he had a discussion with everybody, and Joe Biagini is now a reliever, period. That's it. He's been a reliever. Put in perspective, he's pitched 5 games in the spring. They've been 5 innings. He's been clean inning, one inning, and he hasn't given up a run in the spring. It's very small sample size, of course, but he's more in his comfort zone now.
So whose decision was this? Was this John Gibbons?
To put him as a starter, it was probably in the mix of the pitching coach and John Gibbons and stuff like that, but we as Jays fans never agreed with this situation. We never agreed with this.
All right, if he's struggling immensely, do you send him down or do you switch him to starting?
I don't know, because now he's gone through spring training and training in the offseason as a reliever, and now he's going to be starting the year as a reliever where he was good.
Right, but listen, you can't expect him to be good at a position where he's only played spring training. All of last year, down in Buffalo, he was I don't even remember. Was he a reliever or was he
in Buffalo? He was a starter, but then they bring him up as a starter. Doesn't pitch well, so they try him in the bullpen, and he struggles because he's so used to pitching 6-7 innings now.
So how could you see him perform well in the bullpen when he's been flip-flopping all over the place?
I guess because he's had a full off season of bullpen, not what the hell am I going to be? And usually in the spring, you stretch guys out as starters. You start them out pitching them 2 innings, and then you see them 4 innings, and then 5 and 6. And there you go the rest of the way. Joe Biagini has strictly done 1 inning the entire spring. That's what he's done. So he's trained now to do a single inning in the bullpen. I think he's going to have a great year.
That's tough, though.
I think he's going to have a great season.
That's tough for a guy to... Yeah, being in the offseason and practicing in the bullpen's one thing. Actually playing a game's another. He's looked good in spring training, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So
he hasn't given up a run yet.
Only time will tell. I mean, it's going to be tough for a dude that, like you said, started in the bullpen, performed great, and then they brought him, to the starting rotation. I don't even know why. And then he struggled, and then they're just flip-flopping him. So hopefully
not anymore.
Hopefully he returns to form.
Because if he can, this guy can be a dominant guy for the Jays.
This guy can be your next Roberto Osuna, maybe. I mean, who knows?
Well, I don't think he'll be that, but I think he's going to be more of like a 6th inning guy. But he's a guy that's going to... See, what Joe Biagini is probably going to be doing this year, at least if he's doing well, you have a guy like Tim Mason as a lefty who's a stud. That guy had an amazing second half of the year last year. I don't think he gave up a run in the spring this season either. Right. Him and Joe Biagini, I think are going to be guys who are coming in situations where the Jays have like 2nd and 3rd, 2 out, and their starter just got removed from the game, and you need a big out. And I think those 2 guys, because that's what Joe Biagini was a couple of years ago, and Tim Mason was last year. I think it's going to be great to see those guys in the pen this year. That's just my thought. I like what Charlie Montoyo's done so far, but again, it's so early
on. So just going to the other positions. Was there anyone that was cut that you were like, you were a bit iffy about, or pretty much standard procedure. Bo maybe a little bit, but it's great that he's down.
It was kind of like more or less just like a discussion about Bo Bichette, because I don't think they were actually going to do it.
It would be more entertaining if they did it.
Well, of course, but then you would start the clock, and then it's a whole problem there, and then people get angry when they become free agents, and then they will be like, well, if you waited that like extra month or whatever, you would have been fine. But so I don't know. I like Billy McKinney, I think, was the other name that got solidified as a spot in the on the team this year, which didn't surprise me. But some of the other names that I did see, I'm like, it's very interesting. A guy like Dalton Pompey, he's out of options, so which means he'll have to clear waivers now to get down to AAA.
Which he probably will.
Yeah, but you could run the risk. He's had a good spring. He's only 26 years old.
But I mean, really, if he gets claimed off waiver, it doesn't really matter.
No, it is. No, it doesn't. And I think that's why. I think that's what the Jays are banking on, is them not losing Dalton Pompey, which is fine.
It could happen, though.
I want to see him in a healthy spring or a healthy AAA Buffalo team. That's what I want to see, is for Dalton Pompey to have a really good time there in
right
AAA.
now,
but he's had a pretty good spring, and that's where I'm like, well, maybe with being out of options and 26 years old, it would not surprise me if he makes the team. They picked the younger Billy McKinney, who they've seen a lot more as of last year.
And plus, right now, Pompey is just a minor leaguer. Like, this was I think this was his final chance to actually make the team. He could get called up, but as a depth move. I can't...
He's done well in the spring, but I think it's just because he hasn't played enough lately, like as of what, a couple of years, really, that you can't really... call him up, I guess, as of right now. So Billy McKinney, it looks like he was one of the guys. So the Jays are going to continue to make cuts before next Thursday's season opener against the Detroit Tigers. So we'll be doing the podcast, I think, that day.
A couple hours before starting pitching.
So there you go. We'll be breaking that down. We'll probably be starting off the podcast again with the Jays, unless the Leafs and Raptors do something ridiculous.
Which I don't think they will, because trade deadline's past us. I mean...
It just kind of wait to the playoffs now for both teams.
Exactly. So just going around the league here, let's shout out the man himself, Seattle Mariners great Ichiro Suzuki has just retired.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. In Japan. They were playing in Japan, so... Hey, you know what? Great career.
Won, too. They won 9-7 over the Oakland A's.
Just sucks that he never
won
a
regular season game.
He never won a championship, which is
he tried.
Another one of those great players that didn't. I mean, the other, I think him and maybe Ken Griffey Jr. on the Mariners. Those were the two guys that were solidified that franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I mean, really, who else did the Seattle Mariners have? When you think of this,
they have Felix Hernandez right now.
Of the Seattle Mariners, you don't think of Felix Hernandez.
You do. He's King Felix. They have a designated spot for the King's Court in Seattle. So,
personally, I think of Ichiro,
of course,
and I think of Ken Griffey Jr.
Of course, you do.
But hey, who knows? Maybe Felix Hernandez. Maybe in 5-10 years he can be one of the greats. But right now, it's those two that have retired.
It is absolutely. It's those two. They've. When you have a nickname like the Kid, I think it was for Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, he's incredible. He was an amazing player. His swing was just so beautiful to watch every moment. And Ichiro Suzuki hit base hits all over the place. You know, the guy was a hitting machine. And back in his younger years, he was one of the fastest guys out there too.
42 years of age.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's good though. I'm glad he did it where he did it. You know, did it in Japan with the team he was his best in, and it's awesome. It really is.
Right. So let's quickly talk about Mike Trout here, because we're getting a little bit tied for time. Mike Trout signs
stupid contract,
world record deal.
Stupid contract.
I'm trying to find the numbers here. $144 million extension, and that's I saw $430 million.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Contract. So 12-year deal. How old's he now? 25?
Something like that, yeah.
You can't tell me this is another one of those deals where it's not really money, it's more term. Money is money. It's the term?
Yeah, it'll be 37. And the fact, I guess, that you look at it, that he came into the league very young too. And you know, getting that contract is well deserved for him. Oh, sorry. He enters 27 years old. So he's going to be 27. So put it in perspective, he'll be 39 at the end of that contract.
Once you hit the age of 34, 35, I mean, really, your production in any sport starts to drop off hard.
Yeah, it was a 12-year, $430 million. There you go.
But you have to pay the man.
Yep.
If you're the LA Angels, so I guess that whole thing about, maybe Bryce Harper is going to take Mike Trout to the Phillies, that's not going to happen.
No, I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad that didn't.
I'm glad that Le'Veon Bell didn't go to the Eagles.
And I gotta give kudos to Mike Trout though for a second here, because that team hasn't really been in the playoffs too much.
They were on the cusp a couple years.
Yeah, but really nothing crazy there. And he got drafted by them. He got developed by them. He got his debut with them, and he's had his first 6 or 7 seasons with them. Mm-hmm. And he signs the 12-year contract and saying, I want to try free agency and go somewhere else. Way to go, Mike Trout. Classy guy. Great looking contract for him. I mean, he got a sweet looking deal. And
if he was a free agent tomorrow, he would probably be getting
ludicrous money. Oh my god.
More than that.
Probably more than 430 because it's a free agent contract.
It's good. A trash team like maybe the Orioles would offer him half their payroll.
Or like the Manny Machado signing to the San Diego Padres, who no one cares about.
I still don't understand that.
Yep. You're ready to not hear anything about Machado this year, except for when he gets his first home run as a Padre. And
then he's complaining about, the team's not good, smarten up, blah, blah, blah. Well, you picked it, bud.
Yep. So, you wanted the money. Deal with it, bud. With Mike Trout, look, I think the Angels did an amazing job just because... he's a better player than Bryce Harper is. He's a much better player than Bryce Harper.
Now the Angels have to get a supporting cast for Mike Trout.
That's the thing. Now you have him locked up, and you have Pujols still making a stupid amount of money. I don't know how many more years.
He's still in the league?
Yeah, he's still got a contract with the Angels. I don't know how much longer it is, but I actually want to look that up because I know...
St. Louis Cardinal, great.
Yeah, he was amazing with that team. But
Albert Pujols. I remember when... I still can't believe he's still in the league. He must be in his 40s now.
So he signed a 10-year contract back when he did go with the Angels, and I think at that point he was already He's 39 now. Okay.
How many years has he have left?
He's been in the 18. He's been 8 to. He still has 3 more years.
Oh my God.
They signed a 10-year contract when he was 32. He's going to be 42 when he retires. Now, I mean, and that contract in that final year is going to be $30 million. That's a big amount of money for... Look, Albert Pujols is a great guy, and he's an all-time great and all that stuff. But, man,
that's a horrible contract. At least Mike Trout's going to be done by the time he's 39.
3 years younger.
Yeah, well...
When his contract's going to be done.
He's going to be the same age as Pujols as now when he's done it.
Which makes sense. Not 3 more years.
It's still a long time, 39, but it's doable. But I mean, I still don't agree with it. But 42, come on.
Last thing I want to say, Mike Trout, man, with being with that team for his entire career and being one of the best players ever, at least for me, watch
and not cocky, just kind of
to stay with the one team. You love it. You just love that kind of stuff.
Well, there's loyalty in sports, but I mean, who knows? He could get traded tomorrow.
Well, with that contract, good luck.
Any team will that has the... I guess that's true. Like Baltimore, again, I keep bringing up the Orioles.
Yeah, but money-wise, I don't know how much they have because Chris Davis is making a stupid joke amount of money.
And Trumbo Nation.
And Trumbo Nation, that's it.
What
the hell? Was that like a trumpet?
Trombone Nation.
Anyways, where are we going to flip now? We're going
to go to the Raptors. We're going to the Raptors here. In an emotional win last night against OKC. We were talking on the phone. The Tony brothers. Tony Brothers.
Tony Brothers, the man. Look, you guys watched the video. I saw a million comments about how Tony Brothers is a horrendous referee. And it's damn well true.
Well, again, you told me on the phone, hopefully he refs no playoff games for the Raptors. Yeah. We can't choose that, but cross your fingers. And hopefully he doesn't have a brother. Probably does. And
his last name's probably Brothers as well. So he better not be a referee as well.
The Tony Brothers.
Oh my God! Yeah, they probably got that nickname if he actually does have a brother.
But listen, the refs are going to do what refs do, and no one can stop their calls. We can bitch, we can complain all we want, but at the end of the day, we can't choose how they ref games. We can't officiate the games watching on TV, right? We pulled off the win. Again, emotional win against a team who's great. Westbrook's been amazing this year.
Struggling lately, but still a very good team.
OKC.
Yep. Look, I'm sorry. You beat Oklahoma City in OKC. You get Paul George to foul out. You don't have Kyle Lowry. and you're on the road.
And you're facing a referee corps which isn't the best.
Mark Davis and flipping Tony Brothers are a dynamic duo.
And let's get into Pascal Siakam once again.
Wow.
Once again, we keep saying this.
He had a couple of games where he did struggle over the past little while.
You're going to see that.
I mean, you saw where he had 15, 16, and 12, and he didn't shoot the ball very well either.
Look at those
But then
numbers.
you go back to the last two. He got 19 in the game against the Knicks and 33 tonight. I mean, bottom line, he's been in double digits now for... his last non-double-digit game was January 16th in Boston.
Most improved player?
And he only took 6 shots in that game, too.
Most improved player?
Of course he is. What's he averaging now? He's a 16.6 points a game.
I thought it was a little more than that, to be honest.
7 rebounds. He's shooting almost 55% from the field, shooting almost 78% from the free throw line, almost 35% from 3. He's amazing. He is an amazing player. I think there's no question about it. He can, and the thing I love about the way Pascal's doing it, he's doing it on an already playoff team. It's not just a rebuilding team that's just
he's getting all the minutes.
Like Jonas Valanciunas, and by the way, JV fires up a 33 and 15 yesterday in overtime.
But CJ Miles is out for the season, which I saw. I'm just saying that's one less player we can compare to. But yeah, I mean, he's doing it on a playoff-bound team where they have to give a lot of players minutes on the bench, and he's performing with I'm not going to say limited minutes he's getting, but he's getting average. He's getting starting minutes. Let's just say
43 minutes yesterday.
Okay, well,
he was off the court for 5 minutes.
Hey, but you know what? If you're throwing up numbers like that, 33 points, I don't even know how many rebounds he had. 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 14 for 21 field goal. I mean,
that's 66%, by the way.
Well, I have no problem with him. Yeah.
Hey, can we talk about Fred VanVleet?
He's been good, man.
He's had 3 games back from this injury. He fired up 17 points on 6 of 10 shooting in his first game against Detroit, even though they lost that game. Against the Knicks, he gets 13 points and 12 assists on 5 of 9 shooting. Then yesterday, he fires up 23 and 6 assists on 50% shooting and 3 of 8 from 3.
And we talked about when he comes back, we want him to be the Freddie like we know and love. This is above and beyond that. And with him being still on the bench, he started yesterday, but I'm just saying it would be him, Lowry, then I guess Lin.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
That's totally fine by me.
Because like you said, Jeremy Lin, I think this has been a disastrous tenure with the Raptors.
He's been better over the last few games. I mean, look, he only had 6 points yesterday on 2 of 5 shooting. But again, +6 on the floor. Good. His defense is a lot more underrated than I thought. I keep hearing, he's just a shooter. He's terrible defensively. He was damn good last night defensively.
Who was he guarding?
I think it was Westbrook, wasn't it? I don't know. But I mean, Jeremy Lin's a guy that, he's not gonna get you 30 points a night. He's not gonna get you 20 points a night. He may not even get you 15 a night. But when he does get his shot going, and he does move the ball pretty well too, look, this Raptor team, not only did they improve, look, did you lose JV? Yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. Especially watching the numbers that he's putting up right now. But you got to remember the situation he's in right now. He's one of the primary options, and he's in no stress situation at all.
Yeah, so if my math's correct, just getting off the whole JV thing, because it's done, it's over with, he's on the Grizzlies, whatever. Mm-hmm. We have, what is this, 11 games left remaining.
Is it 11?
Yeah. It's 11 games left, if my math's correct, which it probably isn't, so check. We would be facing the Brooklyn Nets, which we've been keep talking about it. Am I right?
10 games left.
10. Okay, I was close. We'd be facing the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think we're going to be passing the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they're pretty much solidified in that number 1 spot. That's fine. You can face the Miami Heat.
Yep.
But for right now, it's either going to be the Detroit Pistons or the Brooklyn Nets. That's pretty much who the 2 teams we're going to be facing.
Yeah, basically.
Basically, or the Heat. But I think Detroit or Brooklyn. Who'd you rather?
Brooklyn.
Really? The way D'Angelo Russell, and I talked about this last podcast, D'Angelo Russell is a game changer. D'Angelo Russell can put the team on his back. And now, I know Blake Griffin can do that too, but I think right now D'Angelo Russell is a better player than Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond.
Okay.
Right?
You got to also say that Miami Heat are only a game back of the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, well, that's fine.
They've won 3 straight. They're 8-2 in the last 10.
That's fine. I would rather face Miami than Brooklyn.
I'd rather face Miami over those other teams, like Detroit and Brooklyn. But the reason why I don't want to play Detroit, and it's not because of Dwayne Casey and the way he ran his mouth over the last little while. I'm not sure why he's even talking about that.
3 games, you're not worried?
It's just because... No, I am worried about Detroit. I don't want to see them. The reason being, they have 2 guys on that team that the Raptors do not have. Yeah. Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. Who can bang bodies with them?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
no one can.
If you had a guy like JV, then yeah, maybe he can bang bodies with Andre Drummond and fight down low and all that stuff. But when you look at those guys and you look at how strong they are and how physical they play, the Raptors don't play like that. Or at least their bigs don't play like that. Yeah. You know? And then you look at, like you said, like a team like Brooklyn. Yeah, Jared Allen is all right when it comes to blocking shots and everything. But the guy's not a guy who's going to put up 20 points a night.
They don't have the power forward / centers the Detroit Pistons have.
Right.
Sure, you got DeMarre Carroll's actually on that team. Ed Davis, 2 former Raptors.
But D'Angelo Russell's great, but the Raptors have guys to counteract him. Yes, he's averaging 20 a game and almost 7 assists a game. You got to also realize he's only shooting 43% from the field, which is not very good whatsoever.
No, it's not. But I'm just saying that's a guy who is energetic. That's a guy who can change how a game is played.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But the Raptors have a lot of those guys as well.
Yes.
Now, a guy like Joe Harris is a guy that I hate seeing.
There's guys on the Raptors that can guard D'Angelo Russell. There's no guys on the Raptors that can contain the Detroit Pistons bigs. I do agree with you on that because there isn't. And just the fact, now I know regular season and playoffs are completely different, but just knowing that we lost 3 straight to the Detroit Pistons, I mean, really, that's going into the playoff series against them. I wouldn't be that confident. I mean, I still am because I love my Raptors, but at the same time, when you get swept by a team in the season series, it's not a great format to be judged on.
Now,
let's just say.
If you want to take anything from that and kind of say something a little different about it, the reason why I'm talking about this is because in all 3 games that you faced the Detroit Pistons, you never had a healthy lineup. Not once.
Either Kawhi was resting for some odd reason.
Serge Ibaka was suspended. Kyle Lowry was out. Because I think, wasn't Kawhi sitting load management that game?
Yeah, I think
Or so. No, let me go back to that last Detroit game.
I think so. Yes, you saw that, but at the same time...
And all of the losses are within 5 points, 10 points. So they're very close, and the Raptors did not have any of their healthy.
But it's a typical Toronto thing for a former coach, a former player, to bite the Raptors.
Well, I said it in that video, in the last one, because you look at the first game, who inbounded the ball on the buzzer beater? Jose Calderon.
Yeah, you know? I know, but I totally agree with you about the whole big situation, and I know that Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, I wouldn't necessarily say that they'd get killed on the inside in the paint, but they wouldn't fare too good, especially for offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
going Detroit's way.
That's why I'd rather see a team like Brooklyn and did you know this with Miami? I saw it yesterday and I'm shocked. Hassan Whiteside is playing off the bench.
Really, he's really dropped off over the cup.
But he hasn't been playing. He's still averaging a double-double. Like, look at this. In the last game, okay, I got stats right here for you if you want to read it. Okay. He only played 19 minutes and he went 12-7. I don't know why he's playing off the bench. Look, he hasn't started the last 9 games. It could be maybe he's coming back from an injury or something. I don't know. No, he's not. So he hasn't played more than 25 minutes in the month of March.
And plus, he's been known for his rebounds, offensive and defensive, not so much points-wise, but, I mean, he's been extremely streaky, though. One game he would have 6 and 10, and then the next night he'd have 22 and 16.
I know. I guess just the name and him not being a starter, it was just kind of shocking to me.
I'm just wondering if there's anyone better than him.
Well, Bam Adebayo, how's he been? He's been pretty good. Okay, I respect that.
Wow, Udonis Haslem is still on the team.
That guy's old as hell. How old is he now? Info.
38.
38 years old. Wow.
He was probably drafted by Miami, I would imagine.
I would assume so.
Now, this is kind of stretching it a little bit, but I'm going to say it anyways. The Orlando Magic could make the playoffs. Now,
they're like a game and a half out. They're playing terrible lately, right? They've won 3 in a row. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, but I don't see Orlando being a team that's going to make the postseason. I just don't see it.
Listen, they're close, man.
They're not close. They're getting there.
I mean, close to Miami. It's not far.
What is that? A game and a half, and then they're almost 3 games back of Brooklyn. So for Raptor fans,
I'm just saying making the playoffs, and who knows? I mean, anything can happen. In the way, I think Brooklyn's struggling a little bit. Oh no, they won one straight, 5-5 in the last 10. But now that's a team. That's a team I would love to face in the first round.
Orlando.
We don't know why.
We've lost a couple times to them this year, I think.
Buzzer beaters and
Nikola Vukovic being a freak.
Yeah. Oh, how many teams have Michael Carter-Williams been on?
I don't know. He's been all over the place. Ever since his rookie year in Philly.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the name of the team I'm thinking of. Orlando Magic's always been a crap team for the
since
past.
Dwight Howard left, right?
And, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, playoffs start. Again, it's funny because with the Leafs, we know who we're facing. The Boston Bruins in the first round. We all know that. With the Raptors, we're either going to be facing the 7th or 6th place team. Maybe 8th. I don't think so. We're going to face the 6th or 7th. So
why do you say 6th?
That's Detroit and Brooklyn.
Why would we face the 6th place team? Oh, you're saying for now the 6th place team.
Either 6th or 7th.
Okay.
Either the 6th place team is going to drop down to 7. We're going to be facing the 7th place team.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying either Brooklyn or Detroit. So, I mean, who knows?
So can we touch on a couple things here? Number one, can Raptor fans stop freaking out every time the Raptors lose to a bad team? The Raptors lose to Cleveland, and it's the end of the world, and this team's going down in the garbage, and they're going to be out in round one. You see it all over the place. And then yesterday, even without Giannis, Milwaukee loses to Cleveland. The inferior Milwaukee Bucks that can't lose. They're going all the way. All this stuff. They lose. Are their fans thinking it's the end of the world? Well, maybe, but, I mean, we don't hear it.
I mean, I can take one thing out of this, that the Cavs are better than both the Bucks and the Raptors.
Thanks, they beat us, right?
And they beat the Bucks. But honestly,
you can tell from this game how much they need Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That is just Raptor fans, or any sports fans in a nutshell. Their team's doing amazing. It's like, okay, if you're working a job and you do everything correct, but you miss one thing, your boss is going to point out that one thing. The Raptors have been doing great all season. They haven't been losing pretty much at all. And then when they lose a stinker to a team that's, second last place or last place in the East. No, second last. The Knicks are terrible. Then the world is just whatever. They're going to lose in the first round. Raptors are done. Kawhi's leaving. Whatever. No. So, but that's just sports fans in general.
Now, we've talked about it many times before how the Indiana Pacers, there's no way they can stay in the 3rd seed, right? We were all talking about that now that, well, it looks like the Philadelphia 76ers have solidified the 3rd spot. They're 3 games up on the Pacers. The Pacers have fallen off now, lost 3 straight games, and they're in danger of dropping to that 5th spot as Boston's been playing better lately, but they've lost their last 2 games. But it's a 1-game difference, and that's huge.
Well, I said this in last week's podcast. I said that if the Pacers were 4th and Boston was in the 5th spot, the Pacers would still be the underdogs, even with home court.
Yep.
Right, because of the reason of obviously. Victor Oladipo's out, and you have not a good playoff record for the last couple of years right now. And Boston in the playoffs is a complete freak. I don't care what their regular season is road-wise, because you always mention that. Playoffs are a different story. And right now, Indiana wants to face either Detroit or Brooklyn, and they need to get back up to the 3rd spot.
It's not.
They
need
easy.
To. Look, Philly's won 6 in a row. They're playing great ball. And
there's no way that
Indiana hasn't been playing good ball. Philly?
Yeah.
No, they're 4 games back. We have 4 less losses. Yeah. I can't see that happening, especially with the schedule the way it looks for the Toronto Raptors. And that's why last night's victory was pretty damn big. Because you lose that, you're only 3 losses back, and you play Oklahoma City again, but isn't it great, though, as much as Philly won, as much as they're getting a little bit closer to the Raptors, and we want to see Indiana pass them and all that, isn't it great seeing Boston teams lose in late-game situations? It's amazing.
Boston teams.
Yeah. Watching the Celtics lose to Philly last night in really, really rough fashion.
Hopefully you can say that against the Bruins, too, but they
I'm just saying, winning. I got my nightly Boston loss, and it was nice to see. Love it. So
quickly switching here to news around the league. Jimmer Fredette signs 2-year deal with the Suns. I think this is his 4th comeback in the league right now.
Crazy.
Put up ridiculous numbers with the Chinese league. Let me just see what team he was on. Phoenix signed him. I don't know, but I think it was like the Shanghai Sharks or something. But this is the guy who's potentially one of the best sharpshooters in the league if he can perform under the pressure of being in the NBA. There's been multiple times where he would put up 50, 60-point games in the Chinese league. I think the Knicks signed him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Fizzled out. The Bulls signed him. Fizzled out. So, listen, Jimmer Fredette, former top 10 pick. You're going to get the playing time with Phoenix. Perform. I don't know.
Yeah. You're not in a stressful situation, my man. You're in the dead last seed in the Western Conference. They ain't moving from that seed. And it doesn't look like they're not going to be able to get the first overall pick because the Knicks have 3 less wins and they aren't winning the rest of the season.
Zion Williamson is going to be a New York Knick. I mean, I can't see the Knicks losing the draft lottery.
Well, you never know. Draft lotteries are weird.
And
would not surprise me if the NBA rigs it and he goes to the Chicago Bulls.
But listen, if he's in a market like New York or Chicago, he's going to do good. I just don't want to see him in Brooklyn or Cleveland. Or sorry, not Brooklyn. Phoenix or Cleveland.
I want to see him go to Phoenix because then the Raptors don't have to see him.
No,
thank God.
I don't want to see him in Phoenix. I want to see him in the East.
I'd love to see him go to Dallas just for the fact of him being with Doncic.
Why wouldn't you want to see him to go to the Bulls?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying the NBA being a conspiracy or whatever. It's going to Chicago and playing in the Mecca of the Bulls.
Right, but I wouldn't be mad if that happened because, listen, the Chicago Bulls haven't been good since, obviously, MJ, but...
Since Jimmy Butler left.
Right, and D Rose was D Rose. So I would love to just what that fan base has gone through over the past.
Wouldn't it be funny if the Memphis Grizzlies win the draft lottery and he goes to Memphis
and then they trade him for like RJ Barrett or something, or another first or something? But Memphis or even New Orleans or somehow the Lakers win the first overall pick. Could you imagine?
It wouldn't surprise me. It's like the Edmonton Oilers crap.
No, it's like the Cavs winning. I think it was the Anthony Bennett draft. They had a 0.3% chance, and they won it because.
And then they take him.
Well, he was supposed to go top 5. But,
top 5.
Yeah, not first overall. Who was supposed to go? I think Nerlens Noel was supposed to go.
What draft was that?
2013.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that was. Victor Oladipo was in that draft. Giannis was in the draft.
I mean, they were all late, right? But
Ben McLemore, I think it was a rough one. That's for sure.
Victor Oladipo in second to Orlando, then Otto Porter to Washington, Cody Zeller to Charlotte, Alex Len to Phoenix,
Nerlens Noel,
yeah, and that pick was traded for Drew Holiday. So that's that. Ben McLemore, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Trey Burke. CJ McCollum to 10. Other than CJ McCollum and Victor Oladipo and maybe Otto Porter if you're stretching it. That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, here, go down just to see when Giannis was drafted. 15th.
Michael Carter-Williams, 11. The pick. So that was Steven Adams. Went to Oklahoma City. I kind of like Steven Adams after watching him play yesterday. Then Kelly Olynyk. There he is. Shabazz Muhammad. There's Giannis at 15. Man, this was Lucas Nogueira, former Raptor. Dennis Schroeder, Shane Larkin. Man, this is a terrible draft.
He's the one with the facial tattoos. Lucas Nogueira, isn't it?
I don't know. He had the really big hair. I see a picture back when we traded for him.
Here, just search him up. Just search up Lucas Nogueira. I don't believe we're doing this on the podcast, folks, but you know what? Images.
No, I'm going draft just because that picture that I saw when he was at his draft, the hat, there it is there. The hat was just placed on his afro. You know?
Here, just search up Lucas Nogueira. I just want to see like an actual picture of this dude.
There he is. Oh, he's got a forehead tattoo? Wait, hold on. What? You know, after watching Lucas all these years, I didn't think he would have a forehead tattoo, but I guess that's a thing. You know? Oh yeah, look at that. Right over the eyebrow, and then one under the eye too. Look at the teardrop. No, I don't think so. He's got a foot right in the middle of his neck. Lucas Nogueira. I think he's over in like China now or something.
Hey, good for him. He was always one of those guys that had a lot of energy.
He was lanky as hell. I mean, that's really all he was. He couldn't really shoot that much.
Just like Hasheem Thabeet, I guess.
Yeah, couldn't really shoot, couldn't really defend. Could block shots because he's massive.
But other than that...
Nah, really nothing special.
Really nothing special.
So we got our daily Lucas Nogueira talk in there. Or not really
daily.
Not really daily. More like yearly.
Pretty much. So let's switch over to the Leafs now. And an emotional week.
Yeah.
When was the last podcast? Saturday. So we were watching that Sens game.
That was terrible.
And of course, Boston had to win in overtime against Columbus.
Yep.
So Columbus couldn't do us a favor. Thanks a lot.
We couldn't do ourselves a favor. And then after that game, Garrett Sparks comes out and calls out the team.
That's
Garrett Sparks,
your backup goalie, making less than $1 million. But you know what? I've said this, and you agreed with me too. Garrett Sparks has slow starts.
Yep.
The Leafs have slow starts. When both goaltender and team have slow starts, that's equivalent to this other team scoring 2 goals, maybe even 3 in the first period.
Yep. You saw what happened in that Ottawa game.
Right. And with Garrett Sparks playing against, he played in Buffalo. He played Buffalo last night. He looked great.
And the reason being, the Leafs allowed a total of, 7 shots in the first period.
The shots were like 23-9 at one point.
Yeah, it was stupid. The shots, they ended up being 46-24, almost doubled. At one point, it was almost tripled at one point, but...
So let's stay on Garrett Sparks here, and I like what he did calling out the team, but he had to have backed it up, and he did.
That stress on him in that game yesterday was massive. If he gave up a 5-goal performance and didn't play well? Oh my goodness!
Now the one player I want to discuss is Jake Muzzin. In 20-odd games, points-wise, he's great. Yep. Points-wise, I think he has close to 15 points in 24, 23 games as a defenseman. Great. There's sometimes in his own end where he does these no-look backhand passes right to the slot. I don't agree with that. I don't know what game it was. Before the Buffalo game, who did we face?
Nashville?
Yeah. It was the first goal.
And by the way, on that night of the Nashville game, Leafs lose 3-0, Boston wins 5-0. So just a little heads up there. Yeah,
but I'm not calling Jake Muzzin out. I don't think I have any right to, but I'm just stating... Not really the obvious, because some fans are a bit oblivious, but I think he needs to smarten up a little bit, and he could be playing hurt.
Yeah, it could be.
He could be playing hurt because he doesn't look himself.
You follow the Leafs on all these social media sites and everything, and I saw somewhere that they were, when they do sport, when they play hockey and everything, they have the soccer ball before the game, right? They kick it around in the back and all that stuff before they get changed, go on the ice.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Jake Muzzin has something wrapped around his chest area, his gut area. I don't know what it is.
Well, I don't think he'd be playing soccer if he was injured like that.
Well, I mean, not to that extent, but there could be something because no one else is wearing it.
You're in the home stretch of the playoffs. There definitely is something.
Right, exactly. I'm not saying there isn't, but I'm just saying that I saw that, and I'm like, well, maybe he is actually injured.
It's like when Kapanen flew into the boards. This was 2 weeks or so ago. Boy, yeah, he got up, he stayed in the game, which I'm like, buddy, how are you even not hurt right now? Later on, he played a couple of games, didn't look himself, and then he was diagnosed with a concussion.
Yep.
He came back last game. He looked okay, but I'm just saying... You're in the home stretch of the playoffs. You have 8 games left.
Is it 8 or 9?
I don't even know.
I think it's 8.
Jake, I know our defense core is depleted right now. You have Dermott injured, Gardner injured, Marinson's sick.
Thank God. Sorry about that.
I mean, if you're hurt, please get ready for get well for the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like Freddie Anderson. In the last couple games, that didn't look himself.
No, in the last game against Nashville, I thought he was better, but again...
I'm a little bit skeptical. I don't think he's 100%. Do you think?
No, of course not. He's played, 50 games, 60 games?
Sit. Rest,
He's
Freddie.
played 54 games.
I want him to say something to the staff. I want him to say, I'm lower body injury, concussion, whatever. Sit out, let Garrett Sparks play.
I don't think he will. But
that's not smart.
I don't think he will do that, but I think it probably would be a smart
If you go into the playoffs with Freddie actually hurt, there you go. You'll want to be healthy for the playoffs. You know who we're going to be facing in the first round. Home ice, probably not going to get it. Right? Just the way Boston's performing right now. Sit, let Garrett Sparks. I mean, hey, last game he looked fine. Get more playing time.
Yep.
And be healthy for the playoffs.
Now, not much of a Jake Gardner and Travis Dermott update, but the only thing we heard from Jake Gardner is that 4 days ago he's just not progressing. That's
like I said before,
as quickly as hoped.
A couple of weeks ago, it looked worse than it actually is, and I think he has the same thing as Zach Parise had last year, and that's not good. Hey, if he can be ready for game 1, I'll be fine with that. Dermott looks like he's on. He was out another
last
2 weeks.
So on Friday,
right?
So this past Friday,
he was skating.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
So that was that was 5 days ago. Well, I guess technically it would be 6 days ago, but yeah. So it's good to hear. I think he was back at practice. I think not too long ago in non-contact, obviously.
So let's talk about this defense core as a whole.
Yeah.
You have Martin Marincin out with flu. Thank goodness.
Would not opposed it's for him having that flu for the playoffs, but anyways, we're not going to get into that.
Or maybe stage 4 cancer.
Oh Jesus!
No, that's terrible.
Wow.
Love you, Marincin. Not really. Sort of.
I don't know him as a much person, but as a hockey player.
Yeah, but you have Justin Hall. I think he looks great.
He looked great. Him and Ozhiganov had a rough first period against Nashville, but I think since then, so you go back to about 5 periods, they've looked pretty good.
Is it just me, or did Igor Ozhiganov lose his spot to a dude who's been sitting for the entire year? Listen, when Marincin's healthy, you know that Igor Ozhiganov's going to sit out.
Look, when you play well, you're going to play, right? When you're healthy and you're going to play and you're ready to go, then you play well.
Personally, I don't mind this pairing right now in Hall and Ozhiganov.
Yeah, I don't either, to be honest with you.
I mean, I'm not in love with Ozhiganov. Don't get me wrong.
No, I'm not either. I'd much rather have Jake Gardiner and Travis Dermott, but we don't have that luxury right now.
But with, Marincin.
Oh God.
Do you think it would be the best option if if Mike just said you're sitting in the press box for the rest of until they get eliminated, or do you want him in for Ozhiganov? What's your take on it?
He's just awful. And what I think is I don't look. My thing is, if you're winning, you don't change anything. And since Marincin has gone down, you've given up less than 5 goals.
Mind you, I don't think that's all him.
No, of course not. But you gave up 3 against Nashville. Ideally, 2 was empty. 2 were real goals, and 1 was an empty netter. And then you gave up 2 against Buffalo. So I mean, I'm not saying it's all him, but I gotta say, like we've been talking about, I usually find things to rip Martin Marincin about. I haven't found things with Ozhiganov and Hall other than that first period against Nashville.
I thought you said I haven't found anything to rip Martin Marincin
about
last game because he's injured.
I can write a novel on that stuff.
Top 5 things, go.
Turnovers, inability to skate. He reminds me of Jake Gardiner, so doesn't know what he's doing half the time, and doesn't use his big body.
And mental.
Oh yeah. Well, that was a given, but yeah.
So staying on the D core, and then we'll move to the forwards and games and whatnot, and then around the league. Nikita Zaitsev has an inability to make a breakout pass.
Yeah.
Every single time he's in his own end and he's trying to do a stretch pass, it's icing. He looks like Roman Polak out there every night.
He's actually got 13 points. He's actually got.
I don't care how many points he has. Looking at him, this dude needs to be playing 15 minutes or less.
He's playing 20 a night.
There's no. I am not comfortable with that. It's frustrating. He cannot make a breakout pass.
Yeah.
He can't. He's not bad on the penalty kill. He's okay on the power play. In his own end, he's horrible. And I think for him, it'd be perfect if he's a 5'6" defenseman. That he's fine with that, but not
for that money too.
No. Yeah, but I'm saying not playing 20 plus minutes a night. I'm sorry, he cannot do that anymore. But I mean,
defensively, he's all right because you don't have to worry about a breakout pass. You just dump the heck of the thing out of there. You just get it out. You know.
Yeah.
And but he's all right. Look, Lately,
I've not been impressed with him. In that Nashville game, I mean, really, nobody really impressed me other than Freddie, maybe a little bit in the forwards, but him especially, and maybe a little bit of Jake Muzzin.
Austin Matthews impressed the hell out of me against Nashville. That guy was flying.
Yeah, but like you said, Mike Babcock really has no other option. But you know,
I mean, look, Nikita Zaitsev is a guy that Mike Babcock relies on heavily, and that might be a problem. But
because we have no other.
You don't have any. Look, the question arises when this team was going through these really tough stretches of not being able to keep the puck out of the damn net. Is it time for Rasmus Sandin to touch the ice? No, God, no. Well, why would you bother?
And plus, in the playoffs, do you really want him to feed the Wolves against the Bruins?
No.
You're going to eat them alive.
Yeah.
And going back to the injury front, and going back to why Freddie should, if you're injured. In the minors, I don't know if you knew this, but Hutchinson's hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
Kaskasuo. There you go.
He's going to be backing up Garrett Sparks and maybe even playing if that comes to that point. So you should tell Babcock, I need to take the night off a couple times and let Garrett take the reins.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's what happens.
When do we play next?
Spot is locked up. I think they
when
play
do we play next?
Saturday against the Rangers.
That is a perfect game for Garrett Sparks to play. You're
won't,
not on a back-to-back, I know, but I wish he would. You're not on a back-to-back. He has the momentum coming off a great win against the Sabres. Play him.
I'm just trying to check here to see if the Leafs have any more back-to-backs the rest of the way. April 1st and 2nd in New York facing the Islanders, and then home for Carolina. And that's the last of the season is the back-to-backs.
Yeah.
I think you should have that as obviously one of the games where Freddie doesn't play, which is obviously going to happen, and at least one more.
Like, I'm not saying throw in Kaskasuo or Hutchinson. All I'm saying is that if it's not on a back-to-back, let Garrett just stay in the net. Like, for example, perfect example. He plays Wednesday against the Sabres. Play him on Saturday. You have, 3 days rest?
Yep.
You know?
I don't know what Mike Babcock has up his sleeve. I don't know
me.
what's going to happen.
And let's talk about the fourth line here.
Fourth line, okay.
Nick Baton got signed. I don't know if it's official to a 2-year deal.
Okay.
I'm guessing less than $1 million. I didn't even see. I just saw that he got signed to a 2-year deal. I love this signing. I don't know what your take on it.
Yeah. I mean, look, getting the depth guy back were they going to re-sign Par Lindholm? No. So there you go. I'm not sure where you're seeing that.
I saw that on Instagram. I don't know if it's official, but I did see it somewhere. And even if we didn't get him back, whatever, but I did see that. So you want to get into the playoff matchups against, obviously, with the Bruins, or
do you want to do that, or do you want to save that? Because we still have 8 games left.
Well, I'm just saying we talk about it a little bit.
Well, do you want to talk about William Nylander?
Actually, let's save it. Yeah, go. Yeah, sure.
Because William Nylander, and people love ripping him apart because of the contract dispute, no matter what. And we all know he had a horrendous start. He had 1 point or 2 points in his 8 games or whatever it was, or 10 games to start the season, right? He was having a terrible, terrible time. Nylander has 23 points in 46 games.
He's good. He's impressed me, and I think the one thing I look at for a player is puck control and being in your own end and not being. Sorry, I just looked at you were trying to drink the glass and there was no water in there.
Yeah, that's what happened there. I was a little frustrated.
No, that's fine. But I look at puck control, and dude, he is better than Austin Matthews at holding the puck and handling the puck.
Yep.
I don't know about stick handling, but holding the puck, he's better than Austin Matthews. He's better than John Tavares. He's on the same level as Mitch Marner. You can't get the puck off him. And again, going back to the fourth line, Trevor Moore looks like that too. He's on his edges all the time.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's good. Man. He's good. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Nylander.
I don't either.
Nothing. Nope. I mean, I'm usually the guy that says, "Oh no, he's blah blah blah," or "He's not performing." No, he's worth his contract.
And he's not even making $7 million. Why are we complaining?
He's making 6.9. Relax there.
Well, he's not okay. All right. He's making $7 million. Considering Austin Matthews is making 12.5, and Marner's going to be making 10 and a bit, maybe even 11.
That's like me saying, "Geez, James, your laptop's not even at 38% yet. Great battery." That 39.
Yeah, well, I rounded it up to $7 million.
Okay, all right.
I mean, come on, you're going down to 38%. Come on, what is this?
But yeah, I mean, he's looked great out there, and he's finding his stride. I mean, finally took enough time.
Well, you knew it was going to.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knew this was going to happen.
I just want him in the playoffs to, I don't know.
And Zach Hyman is in. almost a 20-goal scorer.
I saw a tweet. It's not a Leafs win unless a Zach Hyman empty netter.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I said at the end of the video, and it was a hard-working empty net goal, and that is the only person that I have ever seen that you can say that about, a hard-working empty netter. It's always Zach Hyman diving for a puck or...
That's why he's still on the fourth line. Or sorry, first line. My bad.
I was going to say, what the heck?
First line.
And John Tavares, a quick stat here. John Tavares has 41 goals this year. He got 81 points. 41 goals, 40 assists. John Tavares has scored the most goals for a Toronto Maple Leaf since the 2000s started. No Leaf has scored 41 goals. Maybe Matt Sundin has scored 41.
No, but Matthews scored 40 2 years ago.
40.
Not 41.
No.
Oh, okay.
John Tavares has the most. Wow. As a Leaf in the 2000s.
Well, if you take it in, last year we were the best points-wise ever for a Leaf team. So people are talking about if we get bounced out of the first round this year again, it'll be a disappointment of a season. I take it in and I think about it like, okay, listen. 8 out of the 12 players on our lineup are 20. I think they're 22 years or younger.
Yeah.
We have time. We have time. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, you know what? We'll have time. There's always next year. I'm going to be flat out disappointed.
Absolutely.
This season, if we get bounced out of the first round against the Bruins again, it's a failure of a season.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not, because it's not like this is the window and it's closed.
Exactly.
Or the door, I guess.
We can't be saying, oh, there's always next year, where sometimes next year doesn't happen.
And we hate how this division, the playoffs are the way they are.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible, man.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the top, 3 of the top 6 teams in the entire league are in the same division.
And then you have someone in the wild card who's facing the Islanders.
Yeah.
Or whoever's
the Islanders the Washington Capitals are 5th in the entire league. They're 1st in the other division.
Oh, they passed the Islanders. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, by 3 points, it looks like there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had a poll and they said about 62 or 70% of the players want this playoff format to be changed, and I don't blame you.
I don't blame them at all.
Go back to the old
1 versus 8.
Atlantic, Northeast. What were the divisions before?
Oh, I forgot what they were now.
Because I know we were always the Atlantic.
Yeah, we've always been.
Or no, sorry, we were the Northeast. Boston.
Northeast. That doesn't sound right. I think it was Atlantic.
No,
still.
I don't think it was Atlantic. Because it was us, the Bruins, Buffalo, Ottawa, and Montreal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, but I don't think they'd ever change it. I don't know why they won't. I don't know why they even changed it in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally have no idea why they would or why they did. It's a terrible format. How you have 3 of the top 6 teams in the same division and having to go through each other to get to even the conference finals.
I do remember. Don't quote me on this, but I do remember that one year, the Florida Panthers, they. Points-wise, they were like in 7th in the conference. But in their division, they were 1st, so they jumped to the 3rd place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could still happen, but I think that was, 2013?
Or something like that.
But,
is that when they played the Islanders in the first round?
No, that's when they faced the New Jersey, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that. But, yeah, I mean, the playoff format, it's ridiculous, but I don't think Bettman will change it.
No, he won't budge. No, he won't.
It's just like moving a team like the Florida Panthers or Arizona to Quebec.
Quebec or Seattle, even though Seattle's going to get a team, sounds like.
Are they?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a long ways away from getting anything done. But it looks like they've got something going in there in Seattle, and it could end up being a thing.
Nikita Kucherov,
Just stop it. Mike, come on, fantasy. Like, God, I'm down by 40 points because of that guy. Well, maybe not just him, but the guy's got almost 120 points in 74 games.
Is there anyone that you want to rip since we're talking about hockey on fantasy right now?
Patrick Laine, you suck.
And then we know your hatred for Patrick Laine.
Yeah, I don't know why I drafted his numbnut. I thought he was going to be a 40-goal scorer. Austin Matthews has played 13 less games or whatever the heck the number is than him.
13 more goals. Almost.
Well, he's got 6.
Well, still.
But Matthews a 35 goal scorer and he's played like 60-something odd games. Patrick, I think actually 60 even. Liney's played 73. He's got 29 goals. It's killing me.
So do you want to give your shout out to Eberly Hills at all?
Yeah, I got to give it to you, bud. I mean, your team's a lot better, and you have Nikita Kucherov, and your depth guys are a lot better than my team. And congratulations on going to the finals to take on Evan here.
And can't wait to see you in the finals. And hey, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a huge props to Reid-Foley. St. John's, I don't even know what your username is, but you, I think, won 4 straight to end off the season in fantasy.
I think I beat him at the end of the year.
Okay, whatever. You were 4-1 in your last 5. You were sticking with me hard, bud. Like, I wasn't expecting you to get 160 points, but you did, and your team's great. And I hope you beat James in the consolation bracket
thanks
winners.
You're
welcome.
You're welcome. All right.
Yeah. So let's go to the questions.
All right. True Aaron is going to start us off here. Do you think Kyle Lowry should rest up for the rest of the season, especially since we're guaranteed to make the playoffs? No, you want him to play. You want him to keep feeling good. I mean, ideally, injuries happen at all times. It can happen.
I think that if we're set to face a specific team, yeah, but we don't even know who we're facing yet.
I think the last 2 or 3 games of the year, I think it's when you're going to start sitting Kawhi. You're going to sit Kyle Lowry. You might even give Pascal Siakam and Danny Green a night off.
I was going to say that. Do what Nick Nurse is doing with Kawhi. Sit him the odd game or so, but don't rest him throughout the 12 games, 10 games.
So do I think he should rest up? Now, if you mean sitting the rest of the games, no. But do I think they should rest him a little bit more? Yeah, I think so.
If we know who we're facing, do you want to rest him?
I think either way, I want him to rest a little bit. Because he's banged up a little bit. He had that ankle problem. Obviously, very, very scary in that ankle injury that happened. But it's good that it's not too big of a problem. And hopefully he's going to be back Friday against Oklahoma City at home. Now, even if he's not, that's fine because I want him ready for the playoffs.
And we beat OKC without Lowry. So
in OKC.
There you go.
So there you go. Michael, do you know why Oakland and Seattle played their opening game today, which is Wednesday, March 20th? I think it's because it's in Japan, and they don't want the team to come back and be in jet lag and time change and all that, and be all screwed up and have the season start for everybody else and for everybody else to be fine. Mm-hmm. And then because of the time change and all that stuff for Seattle and Oakland to be a complete mess to start the year.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Now, it's weird there's a regular season game that a week before the season actually starts.
And
I think maybe it's also because of Ichiro as well. I don't know.
So technically the season started.
I guess technically it has, even though the Jays
are
playing
teams no one cares about.
Even though the Jays are playing a spring training game today, and at least for the next 5 days they are, but I don't know, it's really weird. Roderick, what is your Stanley Cup final prediction? Mine is Nashville versus Tampa Bay. Honest to goodness, question. You know what? And I'm going to say it. I don't see Tampa getting to the finals. I do. We say it every damn year with Tampa. But this year is different. They win the President's Trophy. How often do we see President's Trophy teams going to the finals?
Very true, but this is a record-breaking points-wise season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So you say, okay, so what's your take on it?
I don't know. I'm going to look at the standings real quick here and have a look here. Roddock's making us work here. Okay. It would not surprise me if Washington gets back there. I don't think the Islanders are going to be a playoff team just because they're...
A playoff team?
Right.
Or a Stanley Cup Finals team?
Well, sorry. Okay. A good playoff team. That's what I mean.
He's talking about Stanley Cup Finals.
I know. I'm trying to go through it right here. Okay.
I already know mine.
You know yours already, eh? That's tough because a few of these teams have not had playoff success.
I mean, other than Tampa, who can you take out of the East, really? I don't think Boston's going all the way.
I would not be surprised if you see Washington get back there.
All right, so Washington is your pick for the East. Who's your pick for the West?
Winnipeg has not been great. Oh, they've won 4 straight. I'm going to say Nashville. I'm going to say Washington, Nashville.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay, and I'm going to go off the board a little bit, and I'm going to say Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay.
They're a fast team.
They're 9-1 in their last 10. They won 3 straight as Vegas.
I thought quickly. I glanced at my phone. I thought I saw an X beside Carolina's name for a sec.
I want them to make the playoffs so bad. And you know what? You know who's leading that team the rest of the way?
Nino Ryder?
I was going to say Curtis McElhaney.
Oh.
Oh, he wasn't in that in the last game against Pittsburgh, but that team is 40-25.
Yeah. So I'm Tampa in Vegas. You're Washington and Nashville. I mean, hey, great, both great. Yeah, it's
he's 18-8 with Carolina's Curtis McElhinney, 5 first-star selections. God damn it!
yeah.
So, it's terrible. I think there's another one here, isn't there? From Stephen W.
Wangs.
With the way the Raptors are playing, do you think they're going to make the finals? Now,
that's such a general question.
it is.
Like, no, I mean, no offense, Steven, but it's like if somebody asked us, oh, since the Raptors are doing so well, do you think Kawhi's going to stay?
Oh, we don't know.
Well, we don't know about this either.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't. I looked. I do it. The way they're playing right now over the last 2 games, yeah, they can make it to the finals. But you can't base off that.
No, because
you can't even base it off of the 82 game schedule.
Well, we don't even know who we're facing in the first round.
Well, it's not even that really. I mean, you can't base. He's saying with the way the Raptors are playing, do you think they're going to make the finals? They can. There's always going to be that. They can make the finals if they play the way we know that they can play.
But it's to play against teams that are in the playoffs and they know how they can play too.
Yep.
It's not playing the New York Knicks. It's not playing any of these scrub teams that, oh yeah, we know we can beat them, whatever. It's going off against these teams that they're going to bring it to another level in the playoffs.
Now, beating OKC and OKC, that's a big test.
Yes,
that's a really big thing.
Yes, it is, yes.
But
it's definitely, hey, only time will tell, but yeah.
I think, are they going to make the finals? Well, we won't know until then.
But if they keep playing the way they are, yeah.
Do I think, yeah, exactly. There we go. I think that's about it, right? That's all.
Yeah, that is going to be it for episode 11 of the Teal SportsTalk podcast, season 2. Thank you guys for listening very much. We really appreciate it. James and I are going to let you know probably next week.
It's probably about the same time next week.
Yeah, same time next week. Actually, this was an earlier one.
Yeah, it is.
Early morning. Rise and shine.
Yeah, usually we're recording around now.
Rise and shine. Hey, it's kind of nice to be done earlier. And you're going to be talking to them, I don't think tonight, because the Raptors aren't playing.
Well, Jay's spring training. This is the final spring training video before, I think it'll be next Wednesday or something. I'll be doing a season preview because Thursday the season gets going. But today I'll be talking Jay's West.
So you have a DeMar DeRozan Raptors jersey that you wear. You have a Brett Laurie Jay's jersey you're wearing.
Yep.
And you just got a Willie Knee jersey. I mean, he was almost traded. Yeah.
So
hey, we should start a GoFundMe account. Listen, we're going to put the link in the description. Giving James a new jersey. Guys, he still has a DeMar DeRozan jersey.
So it was just last year.
Brett Laurie.
It was a purple. Well, that one's a mess. But
okay, there you go.
But the thing with the Brett, who am I going to buy? Stroman? Well, he might be traded by the end of the year.
Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
There's no jerseys yet for him.
Yeah, there is, isn't there?
He hasn't been he's not on the Blue Jays yet. They won't sell them in the Blue Jays shop yet.
Well, you could just buy one. Just say, here, put Guerrero Jr. 27. I don't even know his name.
He might not be 27 when he comes up, even though he might be. I think he will be. But anyways.
Is that actually his number?
I don't know. But anyways, I'm waiting for this regime to get going for the Jays.
Yeah.
And Bo Bichette comes up and it's amazing. I might buy his jersey.
It's basically like when the Leafs were going through the Rod Boys.
I had a JVR jersey. Unluckily, he was still on the team.
It was ripping a little bit.
Yeah, it was rough. I think it was beat up pretty good.
What was going on with the stitching, eh?
I don't know. I think it was washing it. That was the problem, I think. But anyways.
You don't wash jerseys.
And if Kawhi Leonard re-signs with Toronto, I am getting his jersey. I've said it many times before. I will say it again. If he re-signs, I am getting his jersey.
How original.
Yeah, you with your goddamn
Cadre jersey?
Yeah, whatever. You always try and go off the board with everything.
Well, there you go.
David Clarkson. Yeah, don't even chirp me.
I'm not chirping. I'm just saying maybe be less original and get
William Nylander. No, I didn't get an Austin Matthews jersey.
Serge Ibaka. Or maybe Fred VanVleet.
No, I don't want my guys traded all the damn time. I lost Brett Laurie, for God's sakes.
And OBJ.
Do you need to go there? Sorry. Really? Like, it's too soon for that.
But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in to episode 11. We love you guys' support every day. James is going to be talking to you tonight. And we will be talking to you guys next week.
Yeah, Evan and I will be talking to you guys next week sometime. And I'll talk to you guys tonight, or this afternoon, Jay's edition. After the game is done, I'll be uploading the video. And as for the Leafs and Raptors, Raptors play tomorrow against Oklahoma City at home, and Leafs play Saturday at home against the Rangers. All right, thank you guys so much for listening, and Evan and I will talk to you guys next week. Peace!